on Dubai Eye 103.8. Now, yesterday, the Dubai Chamber of Digital Economy launched the Entrepreneurs AI Playbook. That's to raise awareness and also offer guidance about AI tools entrepreneurs can use to launch, to manage, and scale businesses as well. It's a part of a broader campaign called Create Apps in Dubai. It's an initiative that seeks to train and upskill 1,000 UAE nationals, strengthening their digital capabilities, increasing the number of app developers here in the Emirate as well. So it's a playbook you can find online. A big focus on it from going through it is really understanding prompt engineering, how you can talk to different tools at different stages to assist with things like your brand identity, business models, operational concerns as well. And I think most of us are using AI in our day-to-day now, but how many people out there have actually taken the time to learn about prompt engineering and how to maximize their efficiency in using these tools as well? Joining us in the studio now is Dr. Ali Raza, who is founder of BiteSpark.ai and also a professor of computing and AI here in the UAE. Dr. Ali, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
And Dr. Ali, you've had a look at the playbook as well. A key feature that I noticed is it asks the AI tool to act as if they're an employee in a certain role before completing the task. And then they get very specific about the output that you're looking for. What did you see in the playbook that you thought, oh yeah, that's a really good or useful suggestion that maybe most people aren't doing?
Well, I think the framework that it provides is something that a lot of people don't think about. So we have to give the language models that we're going to use a little bit of context. But before that, when we give them the instructions, give them the persona that we want them to play out, the role that they're going to play out. This is very important because this is actually the way these have been designed from an inference point of view. So having a playbook that actually gives you an idea of how to get the most out of those language models, it's amazing. So I had a look at the playbook and I think it covers a lot of great things.
Let's talk about entrepreneurs specifically. How much of a difference can effective use of AI be in starting a business? What are some areas in particular entrepreneurs can look at using it?
Okay, so for us, it's been exactly that. We started our business in 2023, and it was really with the power of the AI models that were out there. There's a limited amount of knowledge that I had, especially going into business. But then we began to learn that there's a lot of, these models have been trained on billions of parameters, and there's a lot of information there. So we were able to actually, instead of hiring some of the experts, we were able to actually use the models with some great prompting to get the answers, to get the guidance that we needed. And I think for entrepreneurs, there are a lot of challenges. So the playbook covers quite a few things. There are a few things maybe that I could also add that we've experienced as entrepreneurs as well.
Well, tell me a little bit more about that, because when it comes to prompting, where did you start and what improvements actually made a difference in how you were using those prompts?
So I think at the very start, there was no real guidance on how to prompt. What I started to note is that if I actually explain a little bit more about the situation, a little bit more about the scenario, spend a bit more time typing, rather than just tell me how to come up with a business plan or give me a business plan, explain the context of the business, what I'm trying to achieve, I started to notice that the answers I'm getting are a little bit more accurate, they're a bit more precise, they're really helping me then take the next step, helping me make decisions. So the evolution was there, definitely, on using prompts.
Give us some specific tips, though, now.
Okay, so I would probably say for young entrepreneurs who are looking to build their own apps, use the playbook, right? But there are other areas as well that you could look at. So for example, when you look at the legal field, right? When you're talking about NDAs, when you're talking about legal contracts, I have no idea about this stuff. But then when I look at the cost of hiring somebody into the legal part of my team, it would be very expensive at that early stage. So being able to use the language models and get them to actually help you build those NDAs, help you evaluate contracts, that's really helpful.
I guess my point is if you were doing that, okay, like if somebody was coming in and said, hey, what do I need to know from a legal perspective? Help me build an NDA. What's a better way to do that? What are some ways to make your prompts better?
So I would actually say that I have received an NDA from a company that I want to partner with, and I'm not sure if this NDA is going to put a lot of liabilities on me. Can you please review the NDA and give me a little bit of guidance on what this NDA is about and what kind of liabilities I would be taking on by signing this NDA? So it's very clear. The instruction's very clear. But then before that, I would also maybe talk a little bit about what my business is and what the other company's business is, so it gets a bit of context and understands before I give that specific prompt.
Now, in building your own business, give me an example of a prompt that gave you the highest value return. What area in building your business specifically did you find, oh, this has really saved me or made a huge difference out of all of them?
Right. So that's a hard one to think about because we've used prompt engineering almost for everything. But where I would probably say it added a lot of value is how we actually got the prompts or engineered the prompts to be able to evaluate candidate CVs with a lot of accuracy and consistency. So that is something that actually became the foundation or the cornerstone of our business, and something that has really, it astonishes people when they see the power that AI can deliver now.
And one of the things I've noticed is it does take some time to learn these tools, right? I mean, anybody can just put a one-sentence prompt in, as you said. But I've been dabbling with vibe coding, for example. And yes, technically, with one sentence, I can make a website, but that doesn't mean it's good. I've been quite surprised, actually, at how much time it's been taking me to learn how to improve things, the different components that I need to consider. It is a skill in itself. How much of a time investment do you think it takes for people to get a really good grasp on prompt engineering and getting better at this?
A lot of time. You have to really give it a lot of time because in a way you have to think about it that you are going to train an assistant or a co-pilot that is going to actually work for you and deliver for you. So it's going to take a lot of time to be able to get it to understand what exactly you want, refine it. So in fact, we have in our company an acronym because we were born in the UAE, which is actually Emirates, which is you envision, you model, you iterate, you refine, and then you apply, test, you enhance, and then secure, right? So that actually is the framework we use, and it takes quite a lot of time. But the great thing is that once we've gone through that barrier, we can come up with ideas and have them actually working by evening. So we can come up with an idea in the morning and have it actually delivered in the evening. So with a lot of the young interns that are working with us, who are probably 15, 16 years old, we actually get them to invest a lot of time on playing with those language models, playing with the prompt engineering. And I think the key thing that I would like to probably say is that the engineering part is something to focus on. It sort of stems from the scientific approach that you are providing an input as a stimulus into a system, right? And you want to observe the outputs. And then you want to see how you can change those inputs and keep observing those outputs and refining those, right? So that's the science behind it. There's a lot of experimentation, trial and error, and it takes a bit of time to build that confidence to be able to prompt properly.
And now tell me a little bit about what you're doing at bitespark.ai, because this all came out of an experience you were having with your students.
That's right. So my students were struggling to find jobs. These were my bright sparks. And then I decided to start looking at the recruitment industry to understand a little bit about the challenges, why my students are struggling. And what I realized actually here in the UAE, there's a lot of demand. People want to come here. So whenever a job is posted, you have thousands of applicants. It's difficult to really then sift through all of them and find the people that have the true merit. So what I decided to do is use some of the models that I had built during my academic tenure and see if we can apply them in the world of recruitment. And that's where bitespark.ai was actually born. So it's a platform that is used for hiring and to help and assist recruitment professionals in their field.
How is this different than, systems and algorithms we've seen for some time in the industry that are doing a little word matching? Is this word in the job description? Does this word on the CV? Yeah. It's a bit limiting when you think of things like that.
Right. So it's a very typical algorithm. It's called keyword matching, right? So it's basically looking at keyword frequency matching, and it's trying to basically see if the keywords that have been defined by the hiring manager are there in the CV. Now, the problem with that is that I would not necessarily write my CV in the same terms or use the same vocabulary that the hiring manager has in their mind, because you have to keep in mind different companies have different vocabulary as well, right? So the advantage of using language models is that they understand the nuances and they are able to actually infer from the information that the candidate has put in their CV and see if that is a good match for what the hiring manager is looking for. And it's something that actually recruitment professionals also struggle with, but with the power of language models, they're able to now get things done much easier.
Just a final one for you, word of advice for any of our listeners out there who want to do what you've done, which is basically build out a business using prompts and AI and just improving those prompts. Aside from the AI playbook that we've already referenced here today, what are some other tools and resources that you found useful when you were developing your skill in this area, or any new ones that have come out that you would advise?
Okay, so I think one thing that I would probably say is that there are a lot of open source models, foundation models that are coming out. Now, you may come up with a prompt that works perfectly well with a certain version of a foundation model, when the new version comes out, you will actually find that your prompt does not necessarily work very well with that. So that is when you're looking at hosting foundation models in your own infrastructure. The other advice that I would give, so be careful with that, but the other advice I would also give is that when you're building an app and then you're going to use a language model provider, let's say companies like OpenAI or Google, it's very important to keep this first point in mind, that you may have built a prompt that works with a certain version of the model that they have commercially available. They will then obviously improve their models and they will put them in a testing phase, right? And then suddenly the model that you've been using that has worked as a perfect pair for your prompt has suddenly gone. And now the prompt that you've been using is not going to work with the new model. That can be really disastrous for companies who are going to build apps, good apps that are going to be wrapped around these language models. So very important to be mindful of any new models that are in their roadmap. If they have beta versions coming out, make sure you spend a lot of time testing those beta versions, because they will normally give you just 1 month's notice and they'll pull the plug on the existing models.
All right, Dr. Ali Raza, thanks for joining us on the show today.
Thank you very much.
That's the voice there of Dr. Ali Raza. He's the founder of ByteSpark.ai, also a professor of computing and AI, telling us we need to be spending more time when it comes to learning prompt engineering, making sure that we're using AI a little bit more effectively, and that could actually help you start a business.
Your AI